The final preseason game of 2023 is mercifully upon us on Saturday. The Vikings host the Arizona Cardinals at historic U.S. Bank Stadium. Now, since the league has gone to 3 preseason games a handful of years ago, it's been sort of helter-skelter of what coaches have wanted to do. Now, when it has been 4 preseason games in previous years, generally what happens is the first 2 preseason games, whatever. Third preseason game was the dress rehearsal for the season, where they played starters, sometimes for a few series, sometimes for a full half, and then the 4th preseason game was just a free-for-all, whatever. But since it's been 3 preseason games, sometimes the second game is dress rehearsal, sometimes the third, sometimes teams don't even play their starters, and that's been the case for the Vikings under the first 2 years of head coach Kevin O'Connell, where Kevin O'Connell's preseason record, well, it's 0-5. Goose egg D'Angelo Russell a lot. I mean, some fans are literally mad. It's like, who cares? Who cares? But 2 seasons, 5 preseason games so far. It's been 0 goose egg D'Angelo Russell snaps for Kirk Cousins, Justin Jefferson, Christian Darrisaw, Danielle Hunter. Now, do these guys need preseason games to get into regular season groove and shape and stuff? No. Absolutely not. And I actually respect Kevin O'Connell, who came from the Sean McVay school, Sean McVay sat his starters all through preseason multiple years. It's perfectly fine. But starters played for 2 series in 2022, as well as starters played 0 series in 2023. Now, actually, take that back. Christian Darrisaw played 8 snaps in 2022. Very, very, very important. Now, so far this preseason of guys that are going to be on the week 1 starting roosters, only Ingram at right guard and Ivan Pace Jr., who looks like a lock to start at off ball, have seen any preseason action through the first 2 games. And we put it out to you, the Jeromes. Should the Vikings first teamers play in the final preseason game? 5,600 of you voted. 54% said yeah, a few series. 8% said yeah, the first half. 38% said nah. So, sort of leaning towards a few series or nah. I'm okay either way. It would break from character for Kevin O'Connell to play some of the starters. I would be okay if he played like a skeleton crew of starters. So say you put out the first team offensive line, which it would be nice for them to show up and show out. Maybe you keep Brian O'Neill on the sidelines as he comes back from that Achilles, save him for week 1. Hawkinson obviously out, but if you want to play Oliver and Munt and no Jefferson, no Addison as he comes back from concussion protocol, but I don't know, maybe give KJ a series, let Rager and Naylor, if he's healthy, and Tristan Jackson get some work. No Madison, but yeah, Chandler, Kinkenny if he's healthy, Dwayne McBride. No Kirk, but I mean, you know what you got, Nick Mullins. Just put Jaren Hall out there. Put Jaren Hall out there with the first team offense, and then defensively, I mean, if you want to put everyone except for Daniil out there, I wouldn't be mad at it. Oh, well, Daniil and Harrison and Hicks and Phillips. I mean, you basically know what you got there. Maybe Lowry too, since he's a little bit older. But if you want to do it like a modified version of that and run with like 50% ones, I wouldn't be mad at that. I wouldn't necessarily be upset with that. And with Kevin O'Connell, ultimately, obviously the decision is his. He's kept his cards close to the chest of what he's going to do in the final preseason game. But I think a lot of it depends on how much work gets done in the joint practices with the Cardinals on Wednesday and Thursday. Kevin O'Connell has mentioned that Jaren Hall is going to see extensive work on Saturday, and that's even with potentially playing Kirk Cousins. That's even with the signing of Jordan Ta'amu. So I think that does point to Cousins sitting, potentially even Nick Mullins sitting as well. But the pros and cons, pros of starters playing, live game reps together. How important is that? I mean, bright lights, big city. Meh. In-game tape for new players and scheme. That could be good for the coaches and also for the fans. I mean, people who bought tickets or were given tickets for the preseason game, seeing the starters or some semblance of the starters for a series or 2, hey, it can make their day. But at the end of the day, it's about getting healthy into the start of the regular season, so shelve that one. Cons of starters playing, potential for injury. Pointless if the Cardinals sit the 1s. I mean, if you have your first teamers playing against the Cardinals 2s, whatever. It would take snaps away from second and third team guys that are trying to develop or make this team. The con, I mean, in-game tape for new players in scheme. Your opponents have that tape as well. As well as situational practice reps are just as good. In fact, they can be even better since you can completely manipulate the situation, down and distance, part of the field, various scenarios, and you can have ones versus, in a game, there's lots of variables, and sometimes you won't get exactly what you want to work on. That's why we talk about practice. That's why we talk about practice. Why joint practices are really good, because you can set up those ones versus one scenarios of an opposing team versus just practicing against yourself all day. But like I said, I don't think the juice is worth the squeeze. I'm perfectly fine with the starter sitting. If they wanted to trot out a couple that need a little bit more work, like Ed Ingram, like I don't know, maybe just Ed Ingram, and defensively, I think Pace Jr. is good to go, frankly. Actually, screw it. No one on defense. Just keep everything vanilla. Keep all the starters healthy and safe, and get them ready for week 1. That's all. That's all, man. But your thoughts are thoughts. Should the starters play on Saturday in the final preseason game against Arizona? Let us know your thoughts on our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skol, production value.